So the Revolt Summit Part 4, the Q&A section, coming right up. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Common Sense, Logic, and Reason. And as always, thank y'all for joining me today. Now, I know this is my 4th video on this Revolt Summit, right? But I just want to do a thorough breakdown of it. And only through being thorough is that we can easily expose the nonsense that we see in all this victimhood coming from black people. Now, the Q&A section, basically, it wasn't that long. Only 4 people actually asked a question. But I wanted to basically respond to what they would say, the question that they ask, and the way I would, and not necessarily what the people on the panel would say. I'm just making this video as a response to how I would have answered those people when they asked the question. And of course, you know, there's a lot of rhetorical and racist nonsense amongst black people, and there's no different with the Q&A section. But anyway, to get to it now, the first person, the gentleman, right, he basically asked the question, he made a statement about we need a black vote day. In other words, you know, black people, we put a lot of importance in this idea of how you can't just vote at the federal level for president. You need to vote for the local level, the mayor, the government, the city council, the dog catching, all the other stuff, if that's what you want. But at the end of the day, I still keep saying the same thing, that I don't care who you vote for, it still comes down to you and you voting at the personal level, voting on yourself. What am I going to do for myself? What do I want to achieve in my life? What are the steps I need to take to get there? And this is how, and what am I doing to basically achieve those steps and those different goals? So we don't need a black vote day. We need a black personal responsibility day. Okay, we need a black fix the family day. That's what we need. I just think this idea of focusing on and putting all this importance on, we need to get out the vote, it's nonsensical, because it doesn't matter how you vote if you're not doing anything for yourself. If you're not trying to achieve anything, you can vote up the wazoo. It doesn't matter. So I just think that a black vote day is pointless. Anyway, now the second guy, he was an entrepreneur, and he was asking the question about, I believe his business was doing murals and educational murals in schools or whatever. And he asked, why is it that white people seem to be more responsive to his business model than black people are? Now, my response to him would be is about I always say productive mindset versus unproductive mindset. And unfortunately, far too many black people in America, not all black people of course, but too many blacks, and with those ghetto-minded blacks in the hood, and unfortunately there's just too much ghetto amongst black people. And ghetto-mindedness is an unproductive mindset. The ghetto mindset, as I've said in my video, ghetto mentality, if you want, it's pretty much a childish mentality, basically. And it's not a mentality that's going to build or produce anything. It's only going to tear down. You don't expect children to build anything. You don't expect children to delay gratification. So they're not going to put very much emphasis on anything education, as we should. Not like Asian people would, white people would. I mean, that's the reason why Asian people tend to push their children more when it comes down to education. And that's why they outperform white people when it comes down to education. You look at Nigerians, they really push their children to inspire for more. So it's just a matter of the people that you're trying, the black people that you're dealing with, are just having unproductive mindset. They're and again, I'm guessing he's talking to the schools, the school board, the people, the principals at the school. But you mean, if the people there at the school tend to be a bunch of ghetto blacks with with very unproductive mindsets, where that's going to spew out in the school itself. So you're dealing with give me the question that, my response to this guy, the answer I would give to him is, you're dealing with unproductive blacks. That's just plain and simple. Now the third guy, he asked T.I. about how do you approach him or somebody like him as an artist. So basically, this guy is a hustler. He's trying to be a rapper, and he's trying to. I'm guess he's trying to sin. And I no argument with me. My best with all best wishes to him. Hope he succeed. My only issue to him, I would ask, is please not with this idiotic mindset, this hip hop that's of the day. Good lord, it's like what happened to hip hop, bro? It's just it's like it's unintelligent. You can't listen to it. It slurs speech. Hip hop has really truly hit the floor. It's crap today. That's my only issue is somebody please bring some decent hip hop, and some hip hop from the 80s, the late 80s. That was like the golden time of hip hop, and that as many people have said, and I agree, 88 was the year for hip hop. Man, that my philosophy, that's like the 80s anthem for hip hop, as well as the symphony. So man, we can bring back that age of hip hop. That would be nice. But then all these blacks keep crying about the quote unquote how the Jews control the record company. Now all these racists out here making all this money, they can't start a record company, right? But anyway, I would wish this guy the best of luck. Hope he succeed, and not with the negative nonsense. Not with all this negative rap. Nigga this hoes, and then cry about if a white person say nigga. That's just stupid, right? Now, the last person that asked the question was a female, and she asked the question, but I'm not even remotely concerned about the question she asked. I'm more concerned about a statement that she made that I've already addressed, and she basically made a statement that the civil rights era is unfinished, and that's why she was glad for that summit because of this unfinished business of the civil rights era. Of course, I made a video on this entitled "Where We as Black People Went Wrong," and I'll put a link in the description to the videos that I referred to. But as I say in this video, is that the civil rights era is far from being unfinished. It is finished, and the civil rights era was finished once the civil rights legislation was passed. The problem is not that the civil rights era is unfinished. The problem is that too many blacks are stuck in the civil rights era. As I said, we never transitioned from the civil rights era to the economic era. And again, there's absolutely nothing in this country that a black person can achieve. There's no job, no title, no income level that's basically that's unattainable to black people. But the problem is we just continue to be victims. So we need to leave the civil rights era behind and get into the economic era. Now, last but not least, of course, now T.I. in his last little ditch effort, he made an attack upon Candace Owens, right? And it was pointless, those ad hominem nonsense. And he basically made this claim that she's upset because the crowd was cheering him and booing her, right? And I'm like, well, what did you expect? This is a crowd of a bunch of black victims. You know what I'm saying? What are you surprised that black victims are cheering people who perpetuate victimhood and booing people who perpetuate personal responsibility, which Candace Owens does, right? So there's no shock there, and I didn't see any evidence that Candace Owens was upset. That's basically his last effort to attack her, which is laughable. And then again, he shamed her and bringing up how she asked a question where you accuse me of talking BS, and he like where you was again. She's talking BS, saying the same thing that Big Mike was. So how is it that it was BS for her to say it, but not BS for Big Mike to say it? That's the hypocrisy of the left. I always say that these people are outright just hypocrites, and if white people are racist, then black people are racist hypocrites, and we see the evidence of this racist hypocrisy all the time. Now, that's pretty much my wrap up of this Revolt Summit. And I'm actually, just like that black female, I'm glad that they put these summits out because it exposes them for who they are, and we actually start to get the answers. When we get more people like Candace Owens and Larry Elder to the forefront, bringing truth, it's just going to open minds. Now, it may not appear that a lot of black people are starting to wake up, but black people are starting to wake up. A lot of black people. As I said before, we may not be tripping over each other to leave the Democratic plantation, to mentally free themselves from those mental chains that so many black people seem to be in. But black people are starting to wake up, such as like Big Mike. One of these days, I'm guarantee you, one of these days that Big Mike, he's gonna be a full blown conservative, no doubt about it, because you see that logic and reason in the arguments that he bringing. But anyway, this is my full breakdown, full videos of the Revolt Summit. And as I see more summits like this, I'll break them down because I just want to, like I said, give my perspective on it, y'all. And as always, people, until next time.